So I don't know what to go to next. How about Jon Stewart?
All
right. This is a clip from about a month ago, but I found it relevant based on like the Anthony Jeselnik talk we've done for the last few weeks and everything. Jon Stewart might be the most like well-rounded political comedian of all time. He's not let it cloud his judgment ever. And every time he speaks, you're like, I wish I was a bigger fan of The Daily Show now to have supported Jon Stewart through those times.
Right.
But yeah, so he's talking about Joe Rogan and the election and the response to a lot of the stuff that was going on. Like I said, this is an older clip, but probably not long after the Tony Hinchcliffe clip that he made from The Daily Show. But let's hear his take on everything going on in the world of Rogan.
Does the left need a Joe Rogan experience?
What does that mean?
Like, does the left need a Joe Rogan type of podcast? Or also, how do they get their message out? You know, there was a whole conversation like the left needs, who's the left's Joe Rogan?
Oh. I mean, I think that's oversimplifying Joe Rogan. I mean, as somebody who does listen to Joe Rogan, like, I don't know.
What, John? You scum? You do? What a piece of shit.
This is why I love the left, though, because they're like, we need the left's Joe Rogan. It's like, you had him. He was yours.
Well, that's true, too. But also, like, Jon Stewart could be that. But, like, it's hard to do that on the left, I think. And I think the right is also getting to this point as well. But, like, what's hard about this is if someone like Bill Maher or Jon Stewart says something like this that's, like, reason-minded, and they're like, well, I guess you're not one of us anymore, you scum. Pack your trash and get out of here, Jon Stewart. That's the problem with something like that, is if any of them are ever reasonable. Because Rogan you can call like this right-wing nut, and maybe he's become more right-wing as he's gotten older. He had fucking Bernie Sanders on. He had Andrew Yang on. You know, like he is not some like by the books, every topic that comes up agrees with the right. That's just not who he is. You can try and make him that all you want, but it's just not who he is.
And the worst thing that's like happening to these people though is like he's got RFK Jr. and like Tulsi in his cabinet. They're like, fuck.
Well, they're evil now. Don't you get it? They've changed.
Exactly. You could put Bernie Sanders in his cabinet and they'd be like, this guy's been right his whole life.
Just like this MAGA bro, Rogan fan, Jon Stewart. Let's hear this asshole.
We classify him as he is. Some ideas that I think are wildly progressive, other ideas that are probably I would less agree with. But I think what's interesting about Joe is talks to anybody.
Yep.
He does it with a kind of a genuine curiosity, whether you know, I hate this thing we've gotten into of how dare you platform, you know, or do he's platform. He has a voice. We have a system that is capitalistic, that voices that resonate tend to be amplified. Bernie went on Joe Rogan, which I think was exactly the right thing to do. But it's all these people that have never really, I think, listened to him going, how do we get one of those? And you're like, I'm not even sure you know what that is.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem they come to with Jeselnik and Marin is they read headlines of what Joe Rogan said. I don't blame them for not listening, but I don't think Marin's sitting there listening to a 4-hour fucking Joe Rogan I'm trying to think of some right-wing guest he would have. But whoever it is, like, I don't think Joe Rogan is, Mark Maron is listening to that, nor is Anthony Jeselnik. So they're basing this all on headlines, and they know, like, and again, I thought Anthony Jeselnik's Rogan joke was funny.
Yes.
But I think he also knows, like, I'll just say Joe Rogan's a conspiracy theorist, and people will know what I'm talking about. I don't need to go, like, deep into this. So it works for the joke. It doesn't work when you go on a podcast and have that actual opinion and kind of make a fool of yourself. And this is, again, a guy, Jon Stewart, who has been a left, more than leaning, a left-standing guy his entire career saying, like, well, just listen to an episode. This is not some right-wing nut. And we'll get comments on this. I guarantee you. Me saying it may prevent it, but I almost guarantee you we would have gotten comments on this saying, oh, these fucking Joe Rogan bros, these MAGA guys just loved Rogan, so they suck anyone's dick who talks about Rogan. That's not me at all. I don't listen to a lot of Rogan unless it's a guest I like.
It's a comic, yeah.
Right. Yeah, and it's usually a comic. And then we'll usually play clips of Rogan not getting their jokes and make fun of him. So I don't get this obsession with what Joe Rogan does. If you like him, listen to him. If you don't like him but enjoy making fun of him, listen to him. If he infuriates you, don't listen to him. What's the big deal?
My favorite part of this video, though, is this left-leaning, just the way they cut this clip. This left-leaning woman and Jon Stewart are talking. She asks a question, and she doesn't like the answer. It cuts back, and there's 2 more women now. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah.
They're ganging up on him.
Yeah.
I need backup. Hurry, Jon Stewart's saying crazy things like Joe Rogan isn't Hitler.
Yeah. You don't need your
And-
own. You just need to go on.
And also, I think that question is always framed in the negative. Like, that's a shit thing, and we need to counter it with a good thing of equivalent value. I think that's a mistake as well. I wouldn't even know how to classify the things that he does and says. Because the other thing to remember is, in the world that we live in right now, right or left, the only thing I object to about this idea of political correctness is that it only comes from the left. In a world of constant,
Well, he's right about this.
I know he is, but he shouldn't say it.
No, he's saying. I think he's disagreeing with what you think he's saying. Let's hear it.
everything is attackable and everything will be attacked, whether it's from the left, from the right, things you agree with, don't agree with. We are now an incessant shit talking society. So my only complaint about it is that people somehow blame the left as like, we're the ones who complain about shit. Like, I don't know, man. Look in my comment section.
He's right about that. It's like the Bud Light thing, where it's like everyone gets. I swear to God, we talked about Nikki Norton a couple weeks ago, the Ron Bennington thing, and I kept referring to her as she. I just did it again. I said her. I do that because linguistically it's easier. Every time I speak, I don't want to be the person that claims she is Jim Norton's wife. It just takes too long. You know who I'm talking to. If there's 3 guys in the clip and I say she, you know who I'm talking about, right?
She's also not trying to win collegiate swimming competitions.
Right, whatever, sure. But it's just easier. And we get comments where it's like, oh, Mike is eating up the left's propaganda. Like, they get mad at me because I called Nikki a girl. It's like, no, I just didn't feel like having that debate with you, you know? And so it is, like, there are those people on both sides. Jon Stewart realizes it. And I think, I was going to say that's what kind of makes him the left's Rogan, but it's silly to be on this hunt for a political side's Joe Rogan, because part of the reason Joe Rogan has such a big audience is he talks about aliens and elk meat and taking cold showers, like weird shit that other people weren't talking about before, that an audience was like, oh, I'm interested in this. Let me hear more of it. You don't need a political ideology to be like, yeah, I take Alpha Brain. You know, now you do because it became politicized. But like Joe Rogan was just an odd guy that had unique guests on. So that doesn't even need to be politically minded. Just anyone could do that if they're a good enough interviewer. It's not that complicated. So I've been really liking what Jon Stewart is doing. Does Jon Stewart do a podcast? I know he tried he did the thing with Apple, and I think he left them.
That was a clip from the Weekly Show podcast. I don't know if he normally is on it or if it's like staffers, but
Yeah,
there
Jon Stewart should do a podcast. I think it would be very good.
yeah, it was the Daily Show is just once a week now, right?
Well, he does it once a week,
Yeah.
and I think other people are on it throughout the week.
Oh. So when he's on it, it's called the Weekly Show, but everyone else is the Daily Show. Is that what it is?
No, I think you're getting too hung up on this weekly show.
No, I think the one on television is called the Weekly Show with Jon
It
Stewart.
isn't. It's the Daily Show.
Is it?
This is not from that.
No, I know that.
Yeah, no, he hosts the Daily Show on Mondays. I don't know if he still does it. He was doing it up until the election, at least.
Oh, okay.
This Abbott and Costello bit Craig is trying to pull.
I could have sworn the TV show was
His name is Daily.
It's Comedy Central, the Weekly Show with Jon Stewart, the television
Yeah, I don't know. What that
television
is.
program. I think it's continuing.
Oh, good. So he just decided to stick around. But it really tells you the state of Comedy Central that I don't
No
even know if
shit.
the show is on anymore.
No shit.
All right. So shout out Jon Stewart. I just liked what he was saying. And I figured that was a good. Now, all right. That is the last time we'll mention Anthony Jeselnik. Starting now.
Go to blindmike.net for everything Blind Mike. Look at me. I did it. Kragers did it.